When I became the pastor here for Preaching and Vision in 1980, I inherited a world missions conference. And for 3 years, 1980 until the fall of 1983, I didn't speak at our own missions conference. There was a guest speaker at the front of the week, guest speaker at the back of the week, and I was basically an observer for 3 years. And then the Committee for Missions asked me, would I speak at the second of those missions messages during our missions conference in the fall of 1983. Now, I was in the middle of a series on Christian hedonism. It became the book Desiring God. So I gave the message the title, Missions, the Battle Cry of Christian Hedonism. The preparation for that message changed my life. And at the same time, Tom Steller, my associate for all those years here, was having a similar kind of life change experience. And both of us would say, God made a connection between the glory of God, which we loved, and world missions, which we were not as passionate about as we should be. And when that connection was made, everything changed. The next 10 years, we were speaking, we were writing, we were traveling to the mission field. We were doing everything we could to awaken ourselves and our church to the glory of God among the nations. And at the end of those 10 years, so 83 to 93, this book came into being. So 1993, Let the Nations Be Glad, the Supremacy of God in Mission. So this is the 30-year anniversary of this book as the capstone of everything I was seeing in the Bible and learning about missions and coming awake to because of God's work in my life. It blew me away more than any other book with surprise at how God used this. And the reason is because I'm just a pastor. I'm just a settled pastor preaching in this room for 33 years. Why would a settled local pastor who's never been a missionary, I've never crossed a culture, learned a language, embedded myself in to plant the church, win disciples from another people, I've never done that. Why would God use me to write a book that is useful? And I think the answer is, there are a couple answers. Well, there's more than a couple, but here's one. I think the book is mainly biblical reflection rather than methodological application. I don't know enough to do application. And people have found that meditation on suffering in missions, meditation on prayer in missions, meditation on worship in missions was life-changing. And it was for me as well. And maybe another reason would be that we don't sugarcoat anything in this book. Tom Steller wrote the epilogue for it. That's why I say we know that it's going to cost martyrs to finish the Great Commission. So there's no effort to present missions as romantic. Go find your dream among the peoples. It's going to be very, very costly. Maybe one last thing that's been surprising and amazing to me. Through all these years, there's really only a couple of sentences that people have ever quoted back to me from this book. And it's the first sentences in the book. Missions exists because worship doesn't. Missions is not the ultimate goal of the church. Worship is the ultimate goal of the church. So when the elect are gathered around the throne forever and ever from all the peoples and tribes and tongue and nations, missions will be no more and worship will last forever. Those are the sentences that come back to me. And so if God is pleased to take a big book and have 3 sentences remembered so that lives are changed, so be it. So that's my prayer. I pray that for another 30 years, maybe, God would be pleased to stir up his church for the cause of global missions to his glory.